Welcome to the Distressed Business Playbook.
Welcome back to the Distressed Business Playbook with attorney Todd Duffy, founder of Todd E. Duffy P. LLC. Todd is a New York bankruptcy attorney who works with businesses and decision makers navigating financial pressure, restructuring, and complex legal challenges. I'm Evan Mack, and today we're talking about how Subchapter 5 of Chapter 11 can help small businesses stay alive. Todd, welcome back, sir.
Thanks, sir. Appreciate being back and nice to see you again.
Nice to see you as well. Todd, can you explain what Subchapter 5 is, designed to do and how it differs from a traditional Chapter 11?
Sure. So why don't we start with what a traditional Chapter 11 is?
Yeah.
So I like to use the example of things like the Madoff case, or actually Madoff was Chapter 7, but Enron is a famous example, well-known example. You have these gigantic companies looking to restructure their finances, especially in they have complex transactions. Subchapter 5 of Chapter 11 is for the mom and pop store, the bodega, the smaller businesses that have people invested in their own businesses in their own life, and there's not much of a gray area really between their own financial life, their personal financial life, and their business financial life. There's a debt limit of a little more than $2.5 million in debt. If you have more than a $2.5 million in debt, you're not allowed to file for Subchapter 5. It's also meant to condense the amount of time that you have to wrap the case up, and it presumes that small businesses will be a lot less complicated.
What kind of businesses or situations tend to be a strong fit for Subchapter 5?
So I would say usually businesses that don't have a lot of complicated transactions in and around their businesses. So I use the example of a bodega or a mom and pop grocery shop, for example, right? They've got accounts with people that deliver their food, wholesalers. They've got all kinds of different employees and overhead and things like that. Those types of businesses that are fairly simple. They have these creditors that they've been accumulating for a while, but they're the complicated transactions that you would see with Enron, where they're investing money and they're taking money out and they're creating all kinds of other corporations to host those things. That doesn't exist. It's usually one, maybe two businesses, and you don't have subsequent stock transfers and things of that complicated nature. And they usually have, if they have a loan, the loan is personally guaranteed. Which adds to the complexity of it, but not necessarily.
What shifts for a business the moment it decides to move forward with Subchapter 5?
Well, I think one of the main functions is that once I've had a chance to sit down with a potential client who's thinking about Subchapter 5, the first thing I notice is the relief. Generally speaking, these people are so invested in their business and they're so concerned about the idea of filing for bankruptcy that they are avoiding it. And so they're living with this stress of financial wear to their business, and it limits a lot of things that they can do. But once we've got the ball rolling, we've gotten started, chances are it's going to allow for a lot of relief for the average business owner.
What changes under Subchapter 5 when it comes to dealing with creditors compared to the standard Chapter 11 case?
Well, as I mentioned before, it is the limit, right? So if you have more than $2.5 million worth of debt, and an interesting part is that under COVID, the debt limit was increased to 7.5 million and then receded back to 2.3. I think it's 2.3 million at this point when after COVID was resolved. There is legislation now before Congress to actually increase that to 7.5 million again, but things aren't moving forward in Congress. This is not one of their priorities, is my understanding. However, the businesses really are able to take a breath and know fairly quickly how they will end up getting their fresh start, which is exactly what the bankruptcy code is aimed for. All their creditors have to continue dealing with them. They're not allowed to stop honoring contract terms. They're not allowed to stop, in the case of a grocery store, they're not allowed to stop delivering groceries. Landlords have certain types of restrictions. They can't cancel a lease. People who are litigating against them, they're not allowed to litigate. So they have a lot more protections and a lot more options under Subchapter 5 than they would versus not filing at all. And certainly in a Chapter 11, a standard Chapter 11, these types of litigation or this type of case drags on for a very long time, could be years, could be several, could be a lot longer. These cases are generally wrapped up in, I would say, 90 to 120 days from the time you file your bankruptcy petition to the time you confirm your plan.
How does Subchapter 5 affect ownership and control of the business during the case?
It actually doesn't affect it. It has no effect whatsoever. In a standard Chapter 7, which is not this, immediately you'll have what's known as a Chapter 7 trustee appointed to wind down the business, to liquidate everything, and then to close the case. In a Chapter 11, there's a presumption that a debtor will become what's known as a debtor in possession, and it will the debtor's owners will run their own business. And so when that happens, the operations continue just as they did before, under the watchful eye of the United States trustee, which is part of the government, and they are in charge of overseeing all bankruptcies.
Where do business owners run into trouble with that Subchapter 5 or misunderstand how it works there, Todd?
I think that the idea of bankruptcy itself is what scares anybody, and I don't think it matters what chapter or subchapter. The idea of bankruptcy is one where you're liquidating everything, and it's a disaster and it's chaos, and everybody is stopping, to deal with you, and you're going to have a terrible reputation. You're not going to be able to be in business anymore, and it's just simply not the case. In a lot of cases that I've had, we've paid creditors 100 cents on the dollar, and as opposed to just the perceived 2 cents on the dollar. So when you're looking to make creditors right, or make it right with creditors, and do it at a pro rata share, I think that once people have a better understanding of what bankruptcy is and can do for them, they can get their fresh start, they can get their breath, so that they can sit back and say, okay, now they have time to plan exactly how to handle this crisis.
And Todd, what does a successful Subchapter 5 outcome actually look like for a business?
I'm going to end up sounding like a lawyer. It depends. So some clients it depends on what the client is looking for. So some clients are looking to sort of stop their litigation and gather their creditors and take that time. Other people are looking to pay over time, and they could pay up to 5 years. A lot of people are looking to revamp their business plan. There are a lot of different ways that a Subchapter 5 can be helpful. Typically, a successful Chapter 5 has you filing your bankruptcy schedules, filing your bankruptcy petition, and then filing a plan fairly quickly, a plan of reorganization, and then what's known as confirming a plan, where there's 12 to 15 different types of conditions that have to be in place before your plan is confirmed, and paying under that plan for the 3 to 5 years required, and after which they're done, and they move on as a post-confirmation business.
Good stuff, Todd. Thank you for your time.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your time.
Right. That's it for today's episode of the Distressed Business Playbook. If you'd like to learn more about Todd Duffy and his work with businesses navigating restructuring and bankruptcy, visit teduffylaw.com. Thanks for listening. Don't forget to like, leave a review, and subscribe to the show so you don't miss the next episode. And we'll see you all next time.
Thanks for watching. Be sure to hit that like and subscribe button and leave us a review in the comments.